Hi, welcome to multilinguals.com. Today we will discuss irregular verbs endings in the present tense. As you may have noticed, once you already learned the endings for regular verbs that end in AR, ER, and IR, it's pretty straightforward to do the conjugations for all of the pronouns. But sometimes you will use a verb that has a different conjugation. For example, the verb poder. That means to be able to. So we notice that for regular verbs, what I do in the first person is to add an O for the ending. So can I do that with the verb poder? Can I say puedo? Yo puedo? Not really. If you say that, you are changing the verb. It means that you are trimming a plant because the verb would be podar. And the first conjugation for podar is yo puedo. So if I want to say that I am able to or that I can do something, I cannot say puedo. I cannot apply the rule for regular verb endings to this verb. Why? Because this verb is irregular. So how to do the conjugations for the irregular verbs? We will learn this in this video. So let's start.
Irregular presents in Spanish are classified into 4 groups that will help you understand irregular verbs quickly. Group 1. Irregular verbs where the vowel changes. Group 2. Irregular verbs where the stem only changes in the first person. Group 3. Irregular verbs where the vowel changes and the stem changes in the first person. Group 4. Irregular verbs where the stem changes completely. Here is a list of irregular verbs in Spanish with their 4 types. You will see how easy they are. Group 1. Irregular verbs with vowel changes. Within this group, we have various vowel changes. From O to UE, as in
jugar,
to play. From E to IE, as in
preferir,
to prefer. From E to I, as in
pedir,
to ask for something. From U to EU, as in
volver,
to return. With these verbs, it's important to keep in mind that not everyone will have to change. The conjugation for we in the verbs conjugated in the present irregular never change.
So let's analyze the first endings. So we had the verb volver, which means to return or to come back. So we said that it changes from O to UE. So how would you do this change for volver? How would you say I come back, for example? So that would be yo vuelvo. So as we see here, we have to do 2 changes here. One is a change in vowels, such as O to UE, and then the regular ending, as we saw before with regular verbs. In this case, for yo, the ending is O. So we would say yo vuelvo. So here's the table with all of the conjugations for volver. As we see here, the first one is yo vuelvo. Second person, that will be you. We can say vuelves. If we say tú, that would be tú vuelves. But if we use the Argentinian version, that would be vos volves. So with volves, as we see here in the table, you do not do the change for O to UE. You just say volves. That's the only weird thing. For the third person singular, he, she, or usted, that would be vuelve. First person plural, we, volvemos. As we said before in the video with the third person plural, we do not make any change. So this is like a regular verb, really. So we would say volvemos. We come back. Volvemos. Then for you guys and they, we would say vuelven. Vuelven. Para ustedes, ellos, ellas, vuelven. Vuelven. So that is the table for all of these changes with the verb volver. Now, there are some other verbs that follow this pattern.
Let's take a look. Here are some examples of each group.
Encontrar.
To find,
Contar.
to count,
Soñar.
to dream,
Poder.
to be able to
Dormir.
sleep,
Almorzar.
to have lunch. How would you say, I come back from work at 5?
Vuelvo de trabajar a las 5.
How would you say, what time do you come back from work?
¿A qué hora vuelves de trabajar?
Group 2. Irregular verbs where the stem only changes in the first person. Some irregular verbs only have a different first-person singular form, meaning the yo form. Some examples of verbs in this group are as following.
Saber.
Saber is used to talk about facts or learn skills. You can use it to talk about information you've memorized or to say you are able to swim, draw, speak a language, etc.
Conocer.
Conocer is used to express familiarity or lack thereof with a person, place, or thing. For example, you can know or be familiar with a book, a movie, a country, or a certain person.
Dar.
That means to give.
Hacer.
Meaning to do or to make. When using these verbs, remember that it's just the first person singular that is different. All of the rest of the conjugations follow the same pattern as the regular verbs.
Sé tocar la guitarra.
I know how to play guitar.
No conozco el significado de esa palabra.
I don't know the meaning of that word.
Doy clases de español.
I teach Spanish.
Hago las tareas con mi hija.
I do homework with my daughter. Group 3. Irregular verbs where the vowel changes and the stem changes in the first person. This group of irregular verbs are a combination of the two irregularities we've just learned about. For example, we have the verb,
Decir.
meaning to say. If you want to say, I say, we have to change the E by an I. Then we change the C by a G, and then the IR ending by an O, as we do with regular verbs. It's a lot of changes that you need to remember, but don't worry, you'll get used to it. Here's the whole conjugation table for this verb.
Decir. Digo. Dices. Decís. Dice. Decimos. Dicen. Dicen.
Now, let's try another verb with the same pattern. We'll use to hear, which in Spanish would be
Oír. Oigo. Tú oyes. Vos oís. Oye. Oímos. Oye.
Group 4. Irregular verbs where the stem changes completely. Verbs belonging to this group are completely irregular, meaning that the infinitive form of the verb and the conjugated one are entirely different. Here we have the conjugations for the verb to go.
Me voy de vacaciones. Te vas a tu casa. Él va en auto. ¿Vamos a caballo? Ellos van en avión. Ustedes van en bus.
Here we have the conjugations for the verb to be. Don't worry, this last group has only these two verbs. Congratulations! You've survived the Irregular Verbs video. Now it's time for you to go visit multilingualts.com to do some exercises and conversation.